It's the Tony Tone Show on Vintage Sound 93.1 FM. Joining me on the MPW Digital TV Celebrity Hotline, one of the greatest MMA fighters of all time, Randy Couture, talking Bellator 160. Let's grab Randy right now. Hello.
Hey, how's it going, bud?
I am doing really well. Thanks for taking the time this morning. I appreciate it.
You bet. No worries. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So tonight it's it's the main event, I guess, Bellator MMA, and this is going to be a good one. I've been watching MMA for a while, Randy. So your involvement with Bellator, though, I'm not familiar with that. So give me a little background on that.
Well, first and foremost, my son fights for Bellator. Brian has been fighting for Bellator now for a couple of years, and Bellator has been picking up myself, guys like Royce Gracie, Kung Lee, a lot of the old top dogs as brand ambassadors and doing fan fests, and we're doing a tailgate this afternoon at the Honda Center. Myself, Tito Ortiz, Kung Lee, Royce Gracie, and the new champ Michael Chandler are all going to be out signing autographs and hanging out with the fans that come out to watch tonight's fight. Obviously a great fight tonight for the number one contender status in the 155-pound class and a shot at Michael Chandler's new belt. And it's Patricio Freire, they call him the Pitbull, and Benson Henderson, who if you're following mixed martial arts, know that he's a former champion at 155 and looking to get a shot at the 155 Bellator championship.
I tell you what, Pitbull 25-3 and Benson 23-6. This is going to be, Randy. This is going to be one of those where you're watching Bellator tonight, and there's not going to be a lot of missing. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be nonstop hitting each other, kicking. I mean, just the whole time they're going at each other. There'll be no lulls in the action.
No, these guys, you don't want to blink. These guys both have the ability to end the fight. And they're definitely going to get after it. It's going to be a great fight. All three on Spike TV this evening.
Which is fantastic that Spike TV and Bellator are doing that for some people that might miss some of these. So, Randy, obviously with your son's involvement, you probably get asked for advice from other guys that are fighting or girls that are fighting. What do you say to people that are maybe starting out? We're in the Quad City Metro, so Pat Miletich isn't that far away. We got a lot of great fighters in this area. What thoughts do you offer up for maybe somebody that's just getting into MMA?
Well, I think that the biggest thing is finding that training environment. You mentioned Pat Miletich. I mean, he was the leader of that team up there and a great group of guys and a lot of champions that came out of that stable of fighters. And I think that's important. As individual as the sport is, you're really only as good as the guys you're working out with. So finding that environment, that team that's going to challenge you, help you elevate your game, at the same time take care of you, not try and prove that they can fight better than you are or hurt you. There's a very fine line we walk there as athletes. So especially in combative sports. So being part of that team environment, that gym environment where you can flourish.
Yeah, no, I think that makes total sense. I mean, you want to have people that will challenge you on a daily basis, but within reason. How much has the sport changed, Randy, since when you started to where it is? I mean, is it safer? Is it in a better place? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, obviously, we're all operating under unified rules. Mm-hmm. When I started, there were very few rules. There were only 3 or 4 things you couldn't do, and you could wear gloves or not wear gloves, wear shoes or not wear shoes, wear a gi. You could still headbutt. You could still do a lot of things. We ran towards that regulation. We wanted to be considered a viable combative sport. There's I think some 22 or 24 rules on the books now. We're sanctioned in every single state and just about every other country. We're regulated by the athletic commissions that govern sports in most of those states and most of those places. To give you an idea what it was like, my first fight was UFC 13, and we weighed in the lobby at the Holiday Inn in Augusta, Georgia.
Wow!
Now they're cordoning off half of the arena to house the weigh-ins, and and it's showing on television, and it's a much bigger deal. The sport's changed tremendously.
Wow. Can you comment on the weigh-ins? It seems like, and I don't know how it is. I mean, obviously you've done it. You did it for a while, and I'm sure that there's some opponents that you just genuinely cannot stand. But it seems like with each weigh-in, there's almost some type of altercation, or we're close to something happening. Is it that tense at that moment from your experience, and then what you observed today?
Well, that's actually, it seems like that's become the norm in recent years. I never. And I think that was the norm back in the beginning. There was, guys were out to prove that their fighting style was the best, and some of those guys like Tank Abbott would be a little unruly, and there could be problems in the hotels or here and there. But I think we moved away from that for the most part, and now it's really become a marketing ploy, in my opinion. I think a lot of these guys generate this kind of heat and animosity towards each other, because you think it's going to help sell tickets, and it's going to market them as fighters if they can do that. And obviously, talking about a guy like Conor McGregor, who's going to say and do all kinds of stuff to sensationalize himself and whatever fight is staring him in the face. Nick or Nate Diaz certainly didn't shy away from that sort of thing either. So, that you're going to see guys throwing water bottles and cans of energy drink at each other at a weigh-in, but in my opinion, that's a lot rarer than the guys that go up there, shake hands, look each other in the eye, and do what most mixed martial artists do. And I was never one of those guys that had any animosity. I never fought anybody I didn't really care for. There wasn't any. I knew when I signed on to fight Tito that he was gonna talk a pretty good game, and I had to be prepared for that.
Sure.
That's psychological part of the game where he's trying to get me to thinking about a lot of other things, or maybe get emotional going into the fight rather than focus on what I really needed to focus on, which was how to tactically and technically beat him.
Sure.
And so I think that's part of it as well.
Well, you definitely had an incredible success. And before I let you go, I just want to compliment you on your acting chops, Randy, because, man, I mean, I think that's something that, and you've stayed busy with it, and I can see why. You're not only with all the MMA experience, but you're a fine actor, my friend.
Well, thank you. I've been having a lot of fun. It's not something I ever saw myself doing, but athletics kind of opened the door, and saw the opportunity to do something when I was done fighting. I've been acting now for about 15 years, and obviously trying to get better jobs and aspire to learn more and be better at it. But I've been having a lot of fun. Like my character, Mr. Duclair on Hawaii Five-0 was a lot of fun. Obviously the Expendables and doing all those movies with a great group of guys was a blast, and continue to try and get better and better acting jobs. Just did a film down in Mexico called The Treasure Hunter that I think people are going to like. It was a lot of fun.
It's fantastic. I can't wait to see it. Well, listen, tonight is the night. It's go time. Here we go. Bellator MMA on Spike TV. It's Bellator 160. Pitbull taking on Benson Henderson, Randy Couture. Thank you so much for the time, man. I wish you nothing but the best, and I hope you have a great weekend and a lot of fun tonight.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you. Have a great day.
Take care. Bye.